Once the most influential leader of the known world, Marcus Aurelius strove to live virtuously, following historical principles. Unlike many Roman emperors, he resisted the many pleasures available, such as indulging in wine and spectating brutal games at the Colosseum. Marcus Aurelius sought to fulfill his destiny-given charge to serve humanity. Therefore, he deeply cared about achieving his purpose. However, to attain this, he needed to diminish his interest in things that didn't deserve attention or lacked intrinsic value. One of the fundamental concepts of Stoicism is the distinction between what we can control and what is beyond our control, as elucidated by Epictetus' manual. Most, if not all, things beyond our own actions are not under our dominion. This means we must relinquish, not necessarily the world, but the illusion of control. Stoics believed we should be realistic about our limited influence in these matters, thus avoiding unnecessary burden. When life hurts us, it's often because we care about things over which we have no control, allowing them to manipulate us like puppets. Blaming the puppeteers for controlling our strings is futile, for we allow it to happen. If we cease to care, they will lose their power over us, and we will be free. By not concerning himself with what was beyond his control, Marcus Aurelius could confront his many responsibilities and challenges as emperor, focusing on the task he believed had been assigned by the gods. To Epictetus, this represented freedom. To others, it meant not being affected by external forces, a way to concentrate on genuinely important goals, or simply a path to a happy and detached life. When life becomes difficult, what should we set aside and how do we do that? This video freely explores and interprets Marcus Aurelius' philosophy on valuing less that which doesn't deserve our attention, as expressed in his meditations. Marcus Aurelius often distinguished between the present, past, and future, highlighting how often we excessively worry about them or in inappropriate ways, or about irrelevant things. To clarify, starting with the future, as Cicero stated, we suffer more in our imagination than in the reality of our lives. Our imagination about the future often escapes control, creating numerous scenarios that are unlikely to materialize. We anticipate how to deal with possible outcomes while suffering from the uncertainty of what is to come. In many cases, what actually happens is something we didn't foresee, burdening us with unpredictable events, whether good or bad. For instance, we may spend years planning a quiet retirement, only to receive a terminal cancer diagnosis, completely altering our plans. The prospect of these future events consumes us with constant worries. However, if they are not occurring in the present, we cannot deal with them. They exist only in our minds. The future troubles us because we think of it, it doesn't exist outside our thoughts. If you're facing a terminal cancer diagnosis, what prevents you from enjoying today and every precious second of your life? Stand up, hold your head high, regardless of circumstances, and create memorable moments that will outlive you. Marcus Aurelius wrote that it's not the weight of the future pressing upon us, but that of the present. It's not the future that afflicts us, but how we deal with it in the present. The anguish of the future occurs in the present. Ironically, it's not the future unfolding, for when we reach it, it becomes the present. When we worry too much about the future, life becomes painful, as we suffer in our imagination, allowing it to dictate our present. So, what did Marcus Aurelius say about worrying excessively about the future? Consider this quote: "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." He argued that if he could deal with the present, he could also deal with the future. It was advised not to imagine the worst but to deal with the present situation. By focusing on the present, he realized he could endure it and, if that were the case, why couldn't he face what's to come? This mindset is akin to accepting fate. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of how ephemeral existence is, swiftly disappearing into an infinite beyond our grasp. The past and the future are domains over which we have no control. What has been, and unless we invent a time machine, we cannot change it. Remember that the human being lives only in the present, in which their entire life unfolds. Despite the narrowness of our lives, we often overly concern ourselves with the future and the past, which are beyond our reach. Marcus Aurelius stated that the past is irrelevant in the present, not because past events don't influence the present, but because we cannot alter what has already happened. Often, our memories are flawed and limited, relying on personal perspectives and diverse viewpoints. The past is beyond our reach, and our recollections of it are often inaccurate. Nevertheless, we continue to care about past events, reliving them in our minds, repeating the pain they caused. Some think that by reflecting on the past, we can control it, which is an illusion. The past is gone, all we try to control are our thoughts about something that won't return. We may desire impossible changes, but that's futile. Instead of focusing on past events themselves, Marcus Aurelius concentrated on his reaction to them. We cannot control the past, but we can control how we respond to it. Initially, we may consider the past as misfortune, but we must remember that we are capable of remaining unharmed by it. Why treat the past as misfortune and not as fortune? Can we call misfortune something that doesn't violate human nature? What happened doesn't prevent us from acting with virtue. Interestingly, Marcus Aurelius doesn't entirely disregard the value of the past, he observes its rhythm and extrapolates to the future. He frequently mentions that the present is all we have, the narrow field to which we have access. We can look into the infinite abyss of the past and the impenetrable darkness of the future. Marcus Aurelius encouraged focusing on what is under our control, the present moment. Even while minimizing our concerns about the future, we may overly care about what doesn't deserve our attention in the present moment. Often, we are dissatisfied with the course of life and emotionally react to current circumstances. However, being disturbed by the present is futile, for we cannot control what happens around us. We must accept the ways of nature, focusing on how we respond to them, instead of wasting energy on discontent or attachments. Accepting circumstances can be challenging, but adversity is an opportunity to practice virtue. The art of living is not about external circumstances but about how we face events. We should care about that, give our best to live the present in the best possible way, regardless of circumstances. I hope you achieve the desired outcomes for your life. Remember to persist and maintain constancy in everything you do. Thank you for watching this far. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I leave 2 related videos below, which may be of interest to you. Until next time.